Dragon Quest III HD 2D takes one of the most legendary JRPGs ever and gives it a full modern makeover. We're talking gorgeous HD 2D visuals, voice cutscenes, a full orchestral soundtrack, and some nice quality of life tweaks that make this feel like the definitive way to play. And with the HD 2D remakes of Dragon Quest 1 and 2 coming this October, now's the perfect time to jump in and start the trilogy off right. When I first got this game, the Switch 2 wasn't a thing yet, so my choices were the Switch 1 or the Steam Deck. The Switch 1 was noted to have performance issues, and I really didn't want to deal with that. There's an update for the Switch 2 that's supposed to fix some of the performance issues the first Switch had, but for me, this time, I went with the Steam Deck. I wanted to take it on the go without being tied to a home console, and the Steam Deck has another big bonus: mods. We'll talk about that later. If you like RPG reviews and breakdowns like this, be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss out on what's coming next. This is actually my first time playing through Dragon Quest III. I never had the chance before, but even as a newcomer, I can tell there's tons of love and care put into the remake. Now mind you, it's not my first Dragon Quest game. I have beaten a few of them, I just never got to play 3. The story itself is the same timeless setup. A young hero leaves their hometown and sets off on a world-spanning quest, but now it's dressed up with Square Enix's signature HD 2D style, crisp pixel art layered over detailed 3D environments, dynamic lighting, cinematic camera angles, voice cutscenes, and a sweeping orchestral score. The core of the game are the same as the original, but it's presented to give new players a more cinematic experience, while returning fans get to enjoy familiar scenes with fresh emotional impact. Now we move on to performance. One of the biggest reasons I went with the Steam Deck was performance. On the first Switch and even OLED, some players noticed the frame rate dipping, especially in night scenes, in towns. I'm not a huge frame rate snob, but I do want stability. I prefer 60 FPS, but you can lock me at 30 FPS all day as long as it stays there. But when given the choice, of course, 60 FPS is the way to go. On the Steam Deck, with mostly high settings, you're looking at a rock solid 60 FPS for the majority of the game. There are a couple of spots, one town and some areas on the world map where it dips briefly, but it's never enough to ruin the experience. So why did I choose the Steam Deck? Aside from better performance, the big draw for me was mods. I usually like to play games the way they were designed, but Dragon Quest has one thing that's always bugged me: the stat boosting seeds. They're random, so when you use one, you might get +1, you might get +5 to a particular stat, but I always hated wasting them, and it resulted in me having to save scum because it bothered me that maybe this time I was just unlucky for whatever reason. So for this run, I used the Perfect Seeds mod by Witchmo. It makes every seed give you its max value every time. Super easy to install. I'll link it in the description, and if you want a walkthrough on how to get it installed, just drop a comment below and I'll walk you through it. If you played Dragon Quest before, you know exactly what to expect. Grand orchestral arrangements, iconic jingles, nothing wildly different, but it fits perfectly. The music's part of the series' DNA. So I can't really fault them for using the same thing. It's iconic, you recognize it right away. However, I would appreciate some new tunes. Wink wink, Square Enix. This is a classic turn-based Dragon Quest through and through. You'll see your characters on the screen before selecting attacks, and your equipped weapons actually changes appearance, which is a nice detail. Once you attack, the game switches to that classic first-person battle view. Some people are actually turned off by this. I saw a lot of comments online kind of complaining about how this sucks and we should appeal to a more modern era. But I can see why it has its appeal. The original game was like that, and there are some purists out there that would get upset if something was changed. I mean, I can sympathize. I used to hate it. The Shin Megami series got me more into it. I gave it a chance and I ended up enjoying myself. It's still nice to see the attacks and magic be used because they have beautiful effects that have been redesigned and look great on an OLED screen, so give it a chance. Outside of town, you're going town to town, helping people, solving problems, and progressing the main quest. There are tons of hidden medals to collect and trade for gear, plus the new Monster Trainer class makes it a lot easier to capture monsters that you can use in arena battles Pokemon style. Speaking of classes, you've got your staples: warrior, martial artist, mage, priest, thief, merchant, and more. You can experiment with different setups as well as appearance, but for new players, I highly recommend having a dedicated healer in the party until you're a little used to experimenting with some of the other setups that don't include a healer. If you're new to Dragon Quest, a neat little Dragon Quest quirk: some gear can be used in battle indefinitely to cast magic without spending MP. Free spells are always nice. In terms of difficulty, I played on normal, and even then this game can punish you hard if you're not prepared. Make a bad call or walk into a fight underleveled, and the enemies will flatten you. Classic Dragon Quest style. Preparation, strategy, and party balance matter here. I finished my playthrough in about 52 hours, but if you go for 100% completion, expect quite a bit more. If you want to get all the medals, get all the monsters, make sure you win all the arena fights, and you're definitely going to be spending a lot more time here. Not to mention that the world map is littered with things to find. Hidden items, shinies, and you're gonna get distracted. You're gonna walk around and you're gonna be like, oh look, shiny, and then you're gonna move over there and then you're gonna see something else off in the distance and you're gonna try to get to it to either collect item or gear. You don't know what you're gonna get, and it's very addicting. But sometimes they'll be blocked off by a path or inaccessible because you don't have the vehicle to connect to it yet. And yes, there are vehicles on the world map, so typical boats. And the last one I will leave for a surprise because I don't want to spoil too much. Dragon Quest III HD 2D is exactly what I wanted from an RPG. Faithful, gorgeous reimagining that makes the game more approachable without losing the soul of the original. With Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D coming in October, this is the perfect time to play and see where the Edric trilogy really begins. If you want me to review those upcoming games when they drop, let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know what are some of your favorite JRPGs. Since this is exactly what I was looking for, I'm giving Dragon Quest III HD 2D a 10 out of 10. Thanks for watching. This is Lunar, signing off.